Hi, welcome. Today we will be learning about logos. No, not Lego, logos. Before we move on, let's look at some images on the screen which look familiar to us. That's Facebook, that's YouTube, that's LinkedIn. I can see the words, so I know that that's Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. What about this one? It just says T. How do I know what that T stands for? Well, I know because I know the logo of Twitter and that this represents Twitter. So all of these that we looked at today, these are called logos. So let's look at what is a logo. The most simplest definition of a logo would be a logo is an image with symbols, letters, or numbers. What is the purpose of a logo? Why do we need a logo? Or why are there so many logos in the world? Why do people need them? Why do companies need them? It's to represent the identity of an organization. That is right. A logo represents the identity of what the organization is, of the who the organization is. Now, who can have a logo? That's another question that comes to mind. Who needs a logo, or who can have a logo? Companies, different companies like the ones we looked at: Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Google, Burger King, McDonald's, Pizza Hut. Oh my god, I'm getting hungry. GE, even channels for television like HBO, the Teletoon, or the Weather Network. Every single company needs a logo. Schools, different schools can have their logos that would represent them, who they are, what their mission is, how they want the community to perceive them. Teams, sports teams like basketball, soccer, baseball, hockey, cricket, all these teams can have their own logo. And even teams in schools or work teams in the office environment, they all can have logos that would represent them. Individuals. So logos are not restricted to companies or schools or teams. It can be a single person with their own logo that would represent them, their identity. Classrooms. Classrooms can have their own logos as well. You can represent the students in the class, what their motto is, what their beliefs are, what is the in-class culture. There's so many things that can be represented in a classroom logo. Now, what is the main idea required to create a logo? What is the basic thing that we need? If we know the message that has to be conveyed to the observer of the logo, then we can create a logo. So in order to create a logo, there should be a message. We should know a message that we want to convey, a message that shows our identity. Alright, So let's look at some logos of a company, and I'm sure you have guessed it now that these are logos of Apple. Now, if you look over here, this is the first logo of Apple. Let's study this logo in detail a bit. Now, there's this kind of a window or a frame right here. On the top, it says Apple, and over here in the bottom, it says Computer Co. Over here, I just remembered something. Yes, so the Apple, the company Apple wrote Apple in their logo because they wanted everyone to know their company is called Apple. Because the company was probably new at that time and people needed to know about it, the name of it. And they wrote computer here because they wanted to show that, you know, they do business with computers, or their business involves computers, technology. And then the picture in the window with the frame right here, it tells a story. There is a person sitting under a tree, and there is an apple on the tree right here, and the person is reading. It shows the story of Newton, how the apple dropped on his head from a tree and he discovered gravity. And so this logo of Apple, or this story inside that window, it represents discovery of technology and innovation. Then the next logo is completely different. It has a lot of colors in it. So from black and white logo, they went to a colored logo. Maybe color was introduced at that time. And this looks like an apple from which a bite has been taken out of. There are a lot of colors in this logo, particular logo. And these colors can represent many different things. Now, psychologically, each color means something. So it could be the psychological meaning of the colors, or the colors can mean something else. For example, it can represent happiness, a colorful life, or maybe at that time when this logo was introduced or created, everything was colorful, and so they wanted a logo that would stand out with that particular time, that would go with the flow. Or the different colors can represent multiculturalism, or how Apple has spread to different countries, and different colors represented different countries or different target markets. Then the next logo is all black. Now this can represent, maybe the color black was very popular at that time in clothing or accessories or anything else. It can also represent space and the mysteries of space and discovery of those mysteries. It can represent suspense. So these are a lot of things that can be represented by this particular logo. Then the fourth logo here is silver, and it represents innovation. When I look at it, to me it says technology, advancement, innovation. It tells me that these are the modern times. And it also reminds me of the Jetsons family. I don't know why. I guess that's also held in the future, that's why. So yeah, these were the logos of Apple and how they innovated in different times. Let's see. Now, another question that comes to mind is it okay to change a logo? And how many times can we change a logo? Is there a certain limit, or will it be too much if we change the logo a lot at different times? Let's look at the logos of Shell. In 1900, the Shell logo was created. It's a shell lying on the ground, the beach. Use your imagination. And then they move on to the next one, where the shell is totally different. The black background and a lighter shell. Then they make the shell a little bit darker and they remove the background. Then over here, the shell has expanded a little bit, and this area is white. That is a little bit darker with texture, so it might represent the growth of the business over time. And then they introduce color and text to their logo, which says Shell. And then they change that a little bit, make it more simpler with less texture, and they change the color of their text. Then they introduce a red background, and so forth. So you can see that logos can be changed. Innovation can be done with the flow of time. So you have an idea today, you create a logo, and then you might have a different idea after a while, and you can always go back and change the logo, introduce a new one for your company or whatever you want the logo for. Next question: who can create a logo? Well, for that I'm going to tell you a story. Some grade 5 students, 3 different classes to be more specific, were given a task. They were first of all given a lesson on logos and logo designing. Then they were given a task to create a logo for their classroom that would have certain messages in them, that would convey certain messages. And all the students in all 3 classes created a logo, and each class voted, and one logo was chosen from each class. So in the end we had 3 logos, and then the logos were graphically digitized, and a graphical image was created of them. So you can see these were grade 5 students that created these logos, and no one can say that who created these. So creativity does not have an age. Whether you're young, you're old, creativity has no limit, no restriction. Anyone can create a logo as long as they have a message to convey. And these grade 5 students proudly did their task and did it very successfully. So thank you for watching, and this was brought to you by Zega Logos. For more information, you can visit www.zegalogos.com and have yourselves a great day. Thank you very much. Bye now.